One of the typical problems that guitar players have is when they improvise or when they are playing a solo that is not pre-composed. That is going from one technique to another. I remember really when I was when I learned to play scales and arpeggios and stuff like that, I was seriously thinking that to be able to go into a sweep picking pattern from a scale, which I was thinking that this has gotta be the stuff that you gotta be able to do when you play a solo. And I was pretty much thinking this is almost impossible. I cannot really see how I should be able to go from when I'm playing a scale, when I improvise, and then go into a sweep picking pattern. It just seemed pretty much impossible. But I came up with a system that really worked for me, that made me able to, pretty early on in my guitar career, or whatever you want to call it, to be able to go from a scale pattern, because I was using the scale patterns to improvise when I was playing out with my first few bands or just trying to jam with someone. But that material that I was learning in that period of time, many years ago, that system, that idea made me able to go from a scale pattern when I was improvising, trying to play a phrase or something like that, and then go into a sweep picking pattern, and that really changed the game for me. It was really such it was a goal, of course, but it was also such an exciting feeling to be able to use that material that I regarded as very highly advanced at that time anyway. But it really made me, I think it sort of, or anyway, I felt that I was getting to the next step, being able to do stuff like that. And I could also see that my heroes were doing stuff like that, and also guitar players around me. I felt anyway that I was sort of, okay, I'm becoming better now because I'm actually able to use this stuff in real life. And so I just want to give you a few ideas on what you can do to be able to use these some of these arpeggios in a real life situation. And I'm just gonna take it from C major or A minor, just to make it maybe even easier theoretically to understand. So the idea that I'm having is that I'm giving you is starting from a scale pattern in the major scale. If you don't have any pre understanding of the major scale, I play them 3 notes per string, which is very popular, and we have 7 individual patterns. I'm not going to go through all 7 because that's a lot of work, so I'm just going to use this one pattern where I at some point in this scale pattern go into an arpeggio. And so this is what I'm doing. I could even do this. Which is an E minor, so I have the option from this spot to go to even use a C major arpeggio or an E minor arpeggio. That's not really the point. The idea is to go from one technique to the next, because to utilize the scale, I'm using alternate picking, and then I'm going into a sweep picking technique. So what this does, what I did that really worked for me was that I knew that when I'm playing that specific scale pattern, in this case the 3rd scale pattern of the major scale, I know that once I reach that G string, the first note on the G string, I can go into this cool little sweep picking pattern. And I really felt when I was able to do that, I really felt that, okay, now it's really starting to work now. I'm becoming pretty much a guitar player now. I'm able to use the material that I'm learning in a real life situation, and that is just so awesome. So what it takes for you in the beginning, it will obviously take some some mind control. That's not really the right wording here, but it will take some effort from you to, once you identify that spot. You see, okay, I'm at this spot right now. Then I pull out my library of licks, and then I start doing whatever it is. So you want to keep this simple, but you don't want a huge library of licks right now. You just want to start simple. You want to use those baby steps, take baby steps into becoming a better guitar player and becoming able to use arpeggios in improvising situations. So the only thing that needs to happen in the thought process is that when you are improvising here in the third position of the major scale, once you hit the G string, you know, if you're going from the third note on that G string here in the major scale, you're able to do this little cool thing. And you can even add the rest of the arpeggio if you know that. Pretty awesome, I think, that you're all suddenly able to combine the techniques. But let's go into detail, and I want to show you exactly what notes I'm playing and what technique I'm using. So first of all, the scale that I'm playing here is, as I said, it's the third step of the major scale, and that goes as follows. If you play it from E, you start here on the 12th fret and you play 12, 13 and 15, and then you move into the A string and play 12, 14 and 15. And that same shape, that whole step, half step, you redo that on the D string, sorry, 12, 14, 15. And then once you move into the G string, and here is our sweet spot, then you can play this little arpeggio. Let me just finish the scale here. But this is our sweet spot here on the 12th fret on the G string. But on G string I play 12, 14 and 16. And then I move into the B string and play 13, 15 and 17. And that same pattern, I redo that on the high E string, 12, 15, 16, 17. But let's go back to the spot where we can start our little arpeggio. First of all, the notes of the arpeggio is 12 here with my index finger on the G string, and then I move into 13 on the B string with my long finger, and then on the high E string I have two different notes, but I actually play three notes, which is interesting regarding the technique that I'm utilizing. I'm playing 12 on the high E string and 15 on the high E string. And the technique I'm using for this is something called sweep picking. All that I'm using here in the scale is alternate picking, which is pretty much a very simple technique, but a technique that takes, unfortunately, a lot of effort to become great at. But the idea is pretty much just to play down, up, down, up. So the cool thing about it is that if you just play the downstroke, then you know that the next will be an upstroke and vice versa. But the sweep picking technique is, the idea in it is extremely simple as well. But again, this is a technique that takes some effort to become great at, you know. I like to use the metaphor of the samurais who were doing one strike. They were one chop they were doing, and they were doing this thousands of, or maybe even millions of times, just to perfect that little bit of a technique. But they became pretty much invincible as far as I'm concerned. So that's the samurai story. But what we do here when we reach the 12th fret on the G string, we play down on the 12 with the pick, and then down on the 13, and then down on the 12th fret high E string, and then up on the 15. And what we do here is, because we want to go back again to the 12, what we do is that since we just played an upstroke, we don't want to play a downstroke again, because then we would move into a change technique and start using alternate picking again. And I want to keep this exclusively sweep picking for the arpeggio. So what we're going to do for this is, since we have started our row of upstrokes now, pretty much, is that we play a pull-off instead, and then I move into the B string playing an upstroke, and then an upstroke, yet again an upstroke here on the 12th fret. So that comes to this. So here we got the sweep picking technique. It looks like this: down, 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 up, pull off, up, up. Whereas the alternate picking looks like this.